Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conscious Conversations with Teresa. And, it has been such a blessing for me for these last several months to just really dive in and interview people, bring them into a setting where we just have a conscious conversation about whatever each one of us is up to. And then we share that out into the world that hopefully whatever you pick up or hear today, you can take it and do something maybe with it or not. So Amy, welcome. I'd
Thank
love
you
for
so
you
much.
to introduce yourself, and then we'll kind of talk further about some of our connectedness.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much. It's great to be here with you. I really appreciate the word conscious because that's everything to me. And for those of you who haven't met me yet, hello, my name is Amy Guerrero. I am the owner and founder of Thrive in Recovery with Amy. And I'm a woman who chooses a conscious, sober lifestyle. So
I
that's,
love it.
yes,
I
yes, yes.
love it. And I love that you said a conscious, sober lifestyle. And before we came actually onto the broadcast, so hello to Patty, hello to Carol, is that I think we got to all try out some different things. So this morning, I noticed I was experiencing some anxiety in my gut. And I kind of go, you know, what can I do with that? And so I went and walked my dog and listened to Dr. Mark Hyman talk about the food intake, water, what fat versus this, vegetarian versus it. There's just, I think we can maybe get a little bit confused. So I don't know what your experience has been. So I'd love for you to touch on your experience with these different modalities.
Yes. Oh, such a beautiful, I just want everyone to really hear what you said, Teresa, too, which is so important is that, first of all, you felt all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just took a moment to go, well, where is this coming from? And then you felt that it was in your belly, it was in your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And then you named it anxiety. And then but then you stayed curious, right? You're like, I wonder what I can do with this, right? And that's consciousness. So all of this awareness is consciousness, consciousness, consciousness. And you said, oh, let me go find my unconditional loving source of energy, my dog.
Yes.
And then let me take it a step further and go outside and then walk, which is bilateral stimulation for the body.
Yes.
And so already just in that 30 seconds, 45 seconds, you have chosen so many different modalities to get curious instead of judging it. So beautiful, right? Oh my gosh, I'm such a failure because I have anxiety or I have this feeling in my body, right?
And the thing is, I want people to hear that yes, these different situations are going to show up. And there are times where we need some type of self-care. And then sometimes self-care shows up as isolation.
100%.
But, like I love all this and I love the neuroscience. I mean, that's my master's degree. It was like exercise and sport science and anatomy and physiology. But then I dive into the organs and the feelings.
Yes, so important. Yeah, and then you go for a walk and then you just happen to listen to Mark Hyman while you're pulling that out. And so, all of that together is the experience of consciousness. And then the thing is, it's so awesome as you identified it was coming from that gut system, right? It felt very much like, oh, there's something going on in there.
Mm-hmm.
And what am I ingesting
Yes.
that affects that part of my body, therefore affecting my entire system? And, my experience with choosing to step into a conscious, sober lifestyle, one thing that really confused me when I first started this journey was that I went to a treatment center and, I didn't have any idea what to expect. I was scared out of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I felt very much like a failure. I felt a lot of shame. I just felt so confused, misunderstood, all of the things that I felt. And then I'm in this place and I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? And, after those initial days of just figuring out where I was and detoxing,
That's what
then, yeah, I mean, like severe detoxing, like I couldn't even eat because I was shaking so bad, just all of those things that are just really hard on the physical body. I also came in with this deep background in nutrition and somatic movement through yoga, meditation, all the things that I already had been doing in my life while I was still continuing to escape with substances. And so I go to eat the first day that I'm like able, and I'm like, what is this food they're feeding us? I do not understand. And although it looked yummy and delicious, none of it was feeding the microbiome in a healthy way. None of it was really helping the brain and the digestion start to communicate in a healthier way. There was, a lot of sugary cereals. Yeah, there was just all of these
people
things.
that don't know that you go into a recovery center and they do that. One, it's inexpensive ways to feed a large mass of people, and two, when people are detoxing, the sugar is what they initially are missing, so they're trying to fill that void.
100%. Absolutely. I get it. I totally understand, like the big picture, right?
I know, but still you're kind of like, but this is a recovery center, it's kind of like, puzzling.
I totally was so confused. And I was really fortunate. It was close to where I lived in San Francisco. And so I actually had my food brought in so that I could kind of stay on that schedule of how I knew how to eat. And I decided right then and there that I was going to start transforming the way that the recovery world in all senses looked at the relationship between what we ingest and how we recover. Because for full conscious sobriety, all of these matter. That integration is, I would say, close to impossible when the gut is not digesting, when we're not eliminating in the proper ways, when our gut isn't speaking to our brain in that proper way. So when we're not moving in the proper ways for your unique body, right? Like we all have our own little vessel that we get to put our soul in. And it's like, wow, all these things really matter. And so that's when I decided that I was going to do what I do. And right then and there in that place is when I started to kind of create how I was going to create this. Now, it took 2 years of me on this roller coaster of trying to figure out what my conscious, sober lifestyle was going to look like. And in that was just getting more and more depressed. So it was a really unique journey to develop what I've done.
Well, and I want to speak to that. Like I hear commitment, right? And I hear, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I hear a burning desire to do something different, that whatever that wasn't really working. And you're kind of like, I'm going to play with some of these tools, tricks, and trades. And I also know for myself being in and I'm just going to use like champions and athletes and different levels, high levels of people, that I still found they still got some humanity and some struggles to them too. Like they get sidetracked with potential steroid use, or they get sidetracked with running and become addicted to 50-mile runs. And, again, it's these social impact and social, like you said, conscious sober living requires some discipline. It requires some interaction. It requires some honesty, some integrity, some accountability.
Yeah,
I just like that a lot. So
yeah, no, I mean, I love what you're saying, because what you've just brought forward is something that I say often, that no one, no matter what, gets to transcend the human experience.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, I have I live in a very privileged area with many, famous athletes, famous, people. And, it's like everyone is still just a human being having a human experience. And, the reason that I've really brought so much of desire, passion, burning desire, yes, because I knew that if I was going to really do this thing and be happy while I was doing it, like really feel fulfilled, that it was going to be a little bit up to me, asking for support, of course, but to figure out something that really resonated with me and that I could really get behind and feel into, because I could, I can understand a lot. I'm very smart. However, when it comes to the emotions, when it comes to really healing the root causes of what is there, in here, like I already believed in like ancestral trauma. And the reason I even started on this journey, because I went to start working on my trauma without a proper network, right? Of people. I had like one person I could really lean into. And the rest of the resources that I really leaned into were substances outside of myself. Right.
Sure.
And I thought that, I was like, well, it worked in the past. However, I brought up so much at the same time that I was trying to pour substances on it. And I was like, ooh, this is not working. And that was, the beginning of the end of me escaping myself, which, I have zero regrets. And it got really bad for a while, but I have zero regrets because everything that I'd experienced, I get to share in this really profound way. And I get to, one of the most beautiful parts about my experience is that I've had so many opportunities in my life to understand the human condition. And as someone who lived on site with my residents, who was a property manager at like 20, right? So young, and just got to watch all of this human behavior, I just felt so blessed because I really got to understand people, right? At their home. Right. So you don't really put your guards up when you're at home because that's where you let it all hang out. Right.
Yes.
And I was the person that they went to when things were broken, or when their pets died, or when they were having a hard day, or when their parents were sick, or when they were sick. And so I just got to learn so much that we all just want to feel connected and loved. And that really helped me not fall into this, like, I'm just an addict. I'm just an alcoholic, which I was being told, but I was like, I don't believe that. I believe I'm a human that was struggling just like every other human.
Absolutely. And I love that you bring that up, is because I think that as humans, we beat ourselves up enough, right? We have this human experience, and then we have societal conditions. We have out in the mainstream world, then you bring in business, money, sex, you bring in just survival. You bring in, oh, wow, a drug or a substance worked to numb me out. And then the mental obsession of, wow, that worked. I want to keep that going because I don't want to face it. And it's sometimes as simple as things as, wow, the guy didn't call me back. And that sounds dramatic, but that can sometimes be the thing. Someone flipped me off on the highway, or it can be something traumatic, truly grief, true loss. And we're all wanting connection and belonging.
Absolutely, 100%. And when we, just to bring this full circle, right, as it relates to what you're feeling this morning, it's like you spent a few minutes connecting to yourself first to get curious about, well, what is this? What is this asking for? What does this need? What does it want? What is it telling me? Right. And from that place of connection within you, then we're able to connect with people outside of ourselves. Right. And, one of the biggest things that we're sitting here talking about, yes, I love that, Patty, connection and love, is that in order to really be and feel connected outside of self, it's how do I connect within? And that might feel really scary because
that is exactly what I was going to say, is some people go, whoa, I have to really have a relationship with myself, my body, my spirit, my soul, my mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that can feel overwhelming because maybe it wasn't taught as in the formative years, right? And maybe there was a lot of disconnection. And so patterns were developed in those formative years that literally wired the biology and the neurobiology of your body, of your biome, of your brain, of all of these things to avoid connection or to anxiously attach to connection. And, the hippocampus, I mean, there's so many things that happen in the body where it's literally, I want to come, I want to connect, and I don't know how, and I don't have any words to describe it, because maybe until now, what someone, maybe you, I know for myself, I was told is that I was needy. I was too much to handle. That I was crazy because I was so anxiously attached. I was, I took all of these identities on to make them like, oh my God, you're right. I don't know how. And, I'm never going to be this because I was abandoned and blah, blah, blah. And then all these stories just get bigger and bigger and bigger in the mind.
Yes.
And really what it was literally, that I didn't have secure attachment right from birth.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the coming and the connection to self comes through like, oh, well, whatever. Like, I can't go back to being born again. However, I can heal and use so many different, ways of doing this to really come together.
Okay, so Patty asked, what keeps you connected to yourself?
Oh, that's a great question. Lots of things.
Yes, and that's just it. It's like I'm feeling almost like this is getting so juicy. This is just good conversation, right? Like it's like, wow, this flows because this is like a love language for me.
Yes. I love that. So, one of the basic things that I love to just share with people is to put your hand on that part of your body, right?
Yep.
And just be like, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not out there. I'm not outside of me, right? And just taking that breath and going, okay, I'm actually here.
Mm-hmm.
Because this brain can just go and go and go. We need it. Like, the brain is definitely a tool. However, this is as well.
Yes.
And
I think it's so beautiful, that you said the human experience is the human experience, and whatever anybody wants to take in way of beliefs further than that, it's just I don't know. We, like you said, the label, like literally, whenever you're out in public and you see the signs that have the words that scroll across, like the bank time and the temperature. It's like if my mind literally put up what I was thinking, like, oh man, I feel stupid right now. Oh my gosh, I was rejected here. Oh my gosh, they cut me off in traffic. Oh no, I need to go home and isolate. Oh, I can't hear well. Oh my gosh, I'm not funny enough. It's the insanity.
Absolutely. And if we did actually have all of that, then we would see how we would connect.
I know, right?
Because then we would know how very
wow,
similar we are.
exactly. We don't want to say that. We just are like judged or put these measurable outcomes. And that goes back historically, all the way back in time.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so it's so fun because what you just said is like telling on yourself. So that's another way to stay connected. So when, if and when I hear myself going into my brain and saying things like, oh my God, you're so stupid, like you can't do this, you're not self-regulated, whatever version of it that I tell myself, then I'll just say to someone like, wow, I'm really having trouble right now regulating, And then I've told on myself and the other person's like, oh, me too, I'm so nervous. And I'm like, awesome. So now we just get to connect first to self because I said it out loud how I'm actually feeling. And then to reaching out for the other person to go, I feel all kinds of weird right now. And then that without, here's the amazing thing, without even knowing it consciously, then we start mirroring each other, right? And the mirror neurons are helping us feel more connected to one another. And we're like, oh yes, she totally gets me. I'm so happy, and then you relax and the nervous system relaxes and the breath gets more easy and the blood pressure goes down and you're able to digest, that process starts up. Because when we're nervous, everything closes off. And then of course we're having trouble breathing and doing the thing. And we're like, oh my God. And then all the thoughts are like, da, 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 da.
Yeah. And it's like that. And that's why when you can see that those patterns happen, because we learn, right? We learn. And I love how you say mirror one another and learn from each other and be open-minded and thoughtful. It's like when that anxiety creeps in or that gut reaction, and we could dive in so deep into anything from constipation to our brain cells to genetics to stress to family where we grew up, the toxins in the areas where we grew up. But set all that aside and let's just say, hey, girl, I got your back. Hey, girl, I see you. Hey, girl, I love you. Like
Yeah.
I hug you from a distance. This crazy life sometimes gets a little scary or a little lonely. Yet let's be there for one another. Oh well, he didn't call. Well, or whatever. I'm just throwing that one up there, but or the movie was canceled, the projector didn't work. Whatever it is, it's like, hey, high five. It's okay. It's okay.
Exactly. Well, and it is the small things
Hmm.
because they're called microaggressions, right? It's like all these little things happen and you have your own history. I have my own history. We can both have the exact same experience.
Yes.
And I can be just like totally depleted and you can be like, oh my gosh, that was amazing.
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh gosh, that just really reminded me of dot, dot, dot. And, I just went back there. And you're like, oh, and it reminded me of like the best vacation ever.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And how can we hold space for one another as we're both having these different experience from the same experience?
Hmm. So
Right.
what are some, and I'm going to actually, I know we're going to run up on the time, I can tell. Yes, because there's another girl coming on at
Yeah,
the top of the hour. So, but let's dive into what can people do? Like, what are some
absolutely.
best practices? What if we're having that disconnection or that experience? Mine's unique compared to yours. Go ahead and share. What are some of those things?
Absolutely. So first of all, that, just to recognize it. And I think one thing that really happens quickly is that there's this idea that I have to jump out of my experience and be in your experience instead of
Mhm.
having my own experience.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, oh, hold on a second. Like, this is my experience. That's your experience. And how can I just listen?
Mhm. Well, and I love that. I think it's almost like we take off the judgment cap, you know. And my niche, whatever you want to call it, is I really do enjoy working with women 40s and 50s because that's my age range. So I definitely have that level of connection and that we're facing new and different things. And I've studied the history. Women way back, we did have to compete with one another.
Oh, yeah.
Hands down, we had to have literally a family or a man take us in. We weren't able to vote. We weren't able to own land. We weren't, so you go historically to what now we're facing. And then we get into wow, now we're into the me too, and I'm strong, and we lose the feminine sides. Again, it's just
Mm.
being here for each other and going, girl, I gotcha. I gotcha. What do you need? What do you need? Let me supply you with what you need today.
Well, and Teresa, just to really speak to that, and it's so beautiful because it's not just what you need, how can I receive
Yes.
when you give, right? And be in that flow. And I'm so happy because one thing that I'm really in, Thrive in Recovery is all about this balance of not genitalia wise, but the masculine and the feminine
Mhm.
energies, right? And the programs that have been out there that are free in the world are very patriarchal based,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
And to bring in that soft feminine
Yes.
energy. And this can happen in a man that identifies as a man
Mhm.
often, especially, I'm so blessed. I get to work with amazing, amazing men that just
Mhm.
like, oh, I just give me all kinds of things.
Mhm. Right.
And a lot of what we get to heal together is this coming together. And again, it's integration, it's connection, right? It's like, can I let these both be here simultaneously and be comfortable and in flow with it? Because in order to give, I must be able to receive.
Mhm.
And that is what real connection and
Yeah.
integration is, to really pull that all together there. And, what can people do? Stay curious, just like you did when you
Mhm.
started to get that feeling in your body. I'm a big believer. I love food. Food is my medicine, and food is not always enough, right? You know, I had such deep imbalances in my microbiome that I supplement, right? I use high quality, natural, all beautiful supplements so that I don't have to take anything prescription at all,
Yes.
right? And that really helps lift any kind of, I mean, I've been diagnosed by everything that DSM thing has, right? Like, you know, the doctors just, well, yeah,
Hey, DSM.
yeah.
I got them all.
Yes, yeah. And you know what I decided early on was that I want to do this in a natural way so that I do stay connected to myself, so that my body produces everything that it needs to produce and I can supplement it from a natural form. And exercise and movement and high quality co-regulation like we're doing right now. So it's stay curious. It's okay to ask and receive support, right?
Yes.
It's supplement where you need to. You are not weak because you ask for support. You're supplementing what you already got, right? And that's okay. And just
the oxygen and the water and the sunshine and all of it, all the seasons, all the full moon, the new moon. You know, it's like that. Just receive, give, receive. And, you know, it took me a long time to be able to ask for help. And that's the thing. It's like, but I love to give, but if I can't receive, how can I give? It's just beautiful.
Yeah,
so
100%.
good. Love that. So be curious, get connected, ask for help. Yeah,
Be
supplement.
willing to supplement when you need to. Yeah.
What would be some examples of supplementation? I think of different categories, like there's music, or there's books, or there's people, there's vitamins. I don't know. What is your
All of it, like all of that is important, you know? I mean, my favorite saying is all things that every human ingests, everything you ingest, everything, it matters. You know, the quality of people that you're around, the quality of television, the quality of podcasts that you're listening to, the quality of social media you're listening to, you know, how many times are you actually putting your feet on the dirt? What are you smelling every day? What are you inhaling every day? You know, I mean, all of these things are so important. And it's that willingness to just go, oh, wait, you know what? I'm not going to be able to shift. Here's a really good thing to take away too. I'm not going to be able to shift everything at once. So what's the one thing that I can start to focus on?
Wow. What would be an example?
So, you know, maybe someone's listening to this and they're like, yes, yes, yes. You know, like I want that and I'm going to do that. And so today I'm going to call a friend and I'm going to start eating differently and I'm going to drink more water and I'm going to go out in the sunshine and I'm going to do all these things. And it's like, whoa, just choose the one thing.
Yes.
Right. So my first thing, honestly, is in my experience, no one drinks enough water. And so I always say, like, if there's just one thing you take away, drink more water today. Notice how differently you feel. Keep doing that. And then the next day, maybe you're going to start with that new thing where you're going to get 20 minutes of sunshine. And then maybe the next day.
Yeah, totally. Like I tell clients, have a large glass of water next to your bed when you wake up in the morning. That is just one simple way to start out. Like put some tiny routines in, just little bitty, put a quote on your mirror, step away from social media, all that. Okay, so I always ask every guest what they would like to be acknowledged for, and I would love the opportunity to acknowledge you.
Ah, thank you. I have to tell you, I woke up this morning just feeling very emotional. And, you know, I would love to be acknowledged for the fact that I can feel all of my feelings and I can show up and serve.
I love that. Amy. Just, you know, I want to acknowledge you for showing up today, being in this conversation, being of service, having a servant's heart, and being willing to allow your heart to be expanded and people can get what they need from it. And I just love that you woke up and you were able to feel those emotions. You know, it wasn't just that. I don't even want to take it into what it could have been. It's that. It's the emotions. It's the experience. It's life. It's conscious living, it's conscious soberness, it's thriving. And you're such a beautiful, beautiful soul. And I just feel so connected and blessed to be here with you today.
Hmm. Thank you. I really feel that. I even, my nervous system calmed down like on a whole new level. That's a great
Yay.
example of what we can do for one another. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. And I definitely would love for you to go back in and put your the books you read or your website or how people can get a hold of you. And yeah, we'll just stay connected. Keep moving forward and elevating the vibration on the planet.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Teresa.
you.
All samesies to you. And I look forward to staying connected.
Absolutely. I see joint venture and fun and some things we can do.
Awesome.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.